Salutations gamers and welcome to Master of Command. This is a new game that released just today and I've already put 2 hours into it just to get through the tutorial. And so far I have to say I am massively impressed with what is being offered here. This is sort of a historical strategy RTS along the vein of something like Total War, which I have the most experience with. And honestly, so far out of any competition that I've seen for Total War, at least on the shot and pike side, this game definitely takes the cake. It is just that good. And I think it's important to set expectations here. This game is not going to be graphically as impressive as Total War, as it's developed by an indie studio. On the other hand, I have to say that it has a much more addicting gameplay loop in many ways that is going to be easier to get into for many players. It feels like a more casual Total War experience, and then the battles themselves have a surprising amount of tactical depth to them. So if you're unsure whether you should give this game a try, here's 1 hour of edited gameplay that is going to walk you through most of the fundamental mechanics. We'll fight some battles, we'll go across the campaign map, explain what this game is all about, and then you can make up your own mind. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. So these are the 5 starting factions we can select from: the British Crown Hanover, the Habsburg Monarchy, the Kingdom of Prussia, the Russian Empire, or the Kingdom of France. So depending on which one of these you pick, you get various bonuses, and it's not just passive bonuses like this right here, like the Grande Levée or the Junker Aristocracy, but it's also the starting resources. So for example, the Kingdom of Prussia gets 100 reservists, but 500 ammo as resources for the start, while the Kingdom of France gets 1000 reservists, but only 50 ammo. And then you also get various other bonuses, right? So the canton system for the Kingdom of Prussia, as well as the different items that you can equip on your regiments. So as Prussia, which is what we're going to play, we're going to have good infantry, essentially. Fast infantry, heavy infantry, fantastic. But artillery is a little bit neglected, so I suppose that means they're not as good or maybe more expensive. Doesn't exactly describe what the effect of that is here. And also our units are considered elite forces, so they are a bit more difficult to replenish. Below that we have the passive effect Junker Aristocracy, which is going to mean our officers' veterancy gain is plus 50%. So veterancy is pretty much experience. And in return for that, our recruitable officers are reduced by 3. So that means we have fewer options when we select officers, but they're going to gain experience a little bit faster. On the right side, we have the canton system. This says enlist 350 reservists for the first time you enter any settlement. We're going to see what that means in a moment once we're on the campaign map. And then these are the items that we have. And these can basically be equipped on the regiments down here. Each of these is considered a regiment, and this is the regiment officer. So this right here is where we select the campaign that we want to play, it seems. What I'm going to go with here is, I think we'll go with Protect Father Pomerania. Depending on which one of these we select, it's going to give us different objectives, but also different rewards for completing those objectives. So over here we get Prussian Veteran Musketeers. And then for this one, Secure 5 Convoys, we get Living Off the Land Doctrine. I wish it would tell me what the Living Off the Land Doctrine down here is, just so I have a better idea of what I want to go for. But yeah, let's go for this. Okay, here we are in the camp, and this is basically where you have your brigade station. I think it's up to 5 brigades or maybe 6, I don't quite remember. But each brigade is led by one of these officers. So this one is led by von Anhalt-Dessau. And each one of these units right here is called a regiment. So right now we have 4 regiments in this brigade. The Prussian Musketeers, we have a unit of Prussian Provincial Cavalry. We have 2 units of Cantonist recruits. And these are, from what I've checked, slightly better than your regular recruit, which is also a benefit of Prussia, it seems. Up here we have, well, this is pretty much us, right? Because we are leading all of these officers. And these are the benefits that we get. So this is the canton system from the main menu, Junker Aristocracy, and the various bonuses that we get for being in the casual mode. These are the resources available right now. And down here we can also modify our officer, give him a different hat. Give him the gold hat. Looks fancy. Change the hair. Ooh. Alright, so you can go all the way and kind of modify your officers however you please. Now, we have a few items to select and equip on our units. You see down here we have these slots. These are inventory slots that we can put these items into. So this gives us reload +8 and 8 movement speed. Reload is always good. I'm gonna put that on our musketeers. We have the regimental staff, quartermaster. This is going to give us extra veterancy gain, but reduced morale. I think this might be good on our cavalry. Then we have the pocket Bibles. Morale damage received reduced and fire damage received reduced. We're also going to put that, I think, on... Let's put that on our recruits. Just distribute the items a little bit. Morale and movement speed from the field musicians. We have the cylindrical ramrods, which gives us increased reload and accuracy. I think we're going to put that on our musketeers. They also have 2 weapon slots, and these ones, not all units do. But basically we have the Potsdam muskets on these guys, as well as socket bayonets, while, for example, the cavalry only has these sabers. And these are actually worn sabers, so you can replace these if you find better weapons and upgrade your units in that way too. Okay, so without further ado, let's get onto the campaign map. We can click this button up here. War is upon us. Your army stands at the frontier, though modest in size. Your forces are disciplined and in good order. A nearby depot lies ahead, lightly defended, and will serve as a starting point to begin your campaign, though you'll need to press onwards soon after. The land is open and the roads clear, ideal for seeking out skirmishes and encounters. Engage patrols boldly, even those larger than your own. Their troops are of lower quality, and their spoils and equipment will serve your army well. Okay, so we have a supply cache right in front of us. So this right here is us, right? This is us moving around, and I can move around using, for example, right click. But I think you can also use WASD. These are basically different locations we can click on the campaign map that will trigger events. Your grace supply cache lies before us, handful stragglers, blah blah blah. Coin, provision, powder. Such haste will rouse them to battle. Their strength is slight. Okay. So basically we can decide what we want to do here. We can capture provisions, take the coin, or take the ammunition. We have a lack of coin. I'm gonna go for coin for now. And that is actually spawning an enemy army right here. And we'll meet them in battle. So this right here is basically the pre-battle screen that, you know, it's very similar to Total War. Gives you an overview of the different units. So these guys have Russian provincial cavalry, serf recruits, and 1 officer. So we outnumber them by 1 unit. Okay, and here we are on the battle map. This is going to feel very familiar for people who have played Total War before. I will say that this game does not allow as sort of fine controls as Total War. That's what I've noticed. So for example, I can't really turn the camera very far, right? I can't turn it further than this. It's very much designed to be pointed towards the enemy, but that's pretty much okay. I also can't zoom in any further than this, but I can go into cinematic mode. At least I could earlier, but I think it reset my keybinds. So we might want to work on that. Anyways, we're going to move these units out of the way for a moment. And we'll take a look at these individually. So our musketeers are basically just improved recruits. Musketeers are sort of line infantry. That's going to be decent in melee. They don't have the greatest charge. Basically, they're going to be stood there and shoot their muskets. That's the whole point. So we'll make a nice big line, I think, with a few reservists in the background. And we'll do the same thing with these Cantonist recruits. I think we'll go like this. And we'll want to use the terrain to our advantage up here. I can already see where we probably want to move. Because depending on where you position your units in the terrain, you're going to get different kinds of advantages. And we have our provincial cavalry. We'll put those guys on the left side here. There seems to be a lot of space on that side. And then we'll put our general behind as well. Actually, you know what? Let's move all of these units over to the left. because I'm seeing something that I want to take advantage of there in the terrain, which is the hill. Okay, keep this guy behind as well. And then put the cavalry a little bit further away even. Alright, let's go. So we select our units. And this is something that I've noticed. You don't really have groups in the same way that you have in Total War. So at least not that I've noticed. These units are basically just grouped by the brigade. So you can click on the officer. And it's going to select all of the units attached to that officer, which right now is our entire army. I don't find that particularly useful. So the unit controls are a little bit... They take a moment to get used to. I wouldn't say that they are necessarily worse. The battles definitely play way different than they do in Total War. So we advance onto the hill. A hill will give us increased range, which is going to be fantastic. I actually want my musketeers taking advantage of that hill. They are going to be the strongest unit that we have. We can press tab to show where these units are going to move. It's very similar to Total War, except usually in Total War I think the button is spacebar. We'll put these units up on the hill, hopefully before these recruits move into range. And our cavalry is on the left, ready to attack, or probably rather defend against the enemy provincial cavalry. We'll also move our general over on this side. So I think beating the enemy cavalry is going to be crucial. You see, this right here indicates that we are on elevation, and that just increased our range a little bit. And the symbol next to that is the cover available. See, these units don't have any cover. These guys have some cover, which is the trees. There we go. We're actually starting already because we outranged them so much. Yeah, I'm not sure if that actually is going to block any of their bullets if they're stood right in front of cover. But we could have also moved into the settlement, for example, for more cover. All right, so our muskets are firing. You can see this bar right here shows the reload progress. When they finish reloading, they're going to fire. And because we outrange these guys, they're not even shooting back right now. This is the advantage of us being on the hill, especially with our strongest units. With our strongest unit, the Prussian musketeers. The enemy cavalry is sitting back still. I think the serf recruits are now slowly moving in, and we're going to meet them in battle here with our Cantonese recruits. Actually, we'll sit back. I don't want to get in range of this unit. We'll wait for a moment. I think these guys are spreading out their fire across different units. Our recruits over here are firing now as well. We'll hold back with our cavalry. We'll just let our infantry do the work for now. And you can see that the musketeers are 100% charging way faster than our recruits. Or charging, they're reloading. And these serf recruits are taking big penalties to their morale. We can hover over it and it's going to tell us these guys are steady, 25 morale. I think below 15 morale was when they rout. Meanwhile, we have 63 morale on our musketeers. And it's also displayed by these bars above these units. So the green bar is the health and the blue bar I think is the morale. So this unit is like half morale. Over here we're also winning the morale battle, plus their units seem winded. I suppose they sprinted into position. We see a cavalry charge on this side. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm going to pause here real quick. This bar below, this is going to show the charge, and I think it also impacts the charge bonus. So if you don't charge in time, these units are not going to get the full charge bonus, which is why we have to counter charge right now. And the thing is also, once these units are at full speed, I don't think you can actually stop them from charging. They're basically locked in. So you see, by charging in time, we also charged our own charge bonus, and it's going to deal the most damage. We're going to move our general over there as well. Get him in that too. Countering the enemy cavalry here. I'm not sure how strong the general unit really is in combat, and I think there's a risk that you actually lose the general. I'm going to make our line a little wider here. Same thing right here. But we don't want to show our flank to this unit. Our cavalry here has actually been routed, but I think our general finished off these guys. And you see, these guys are now routing, which is why I think we're going to send our general over there just to make sure we finish these guys off. And then we're going to flank this infantry unit right here. So if you shoot into their side, it's going to deal significantly more damage. I think we'll move these recruits over here just to make sure these guys don't turn around and shoot into our side. Get our musketeers into the battle here again. You see, if units aren't being flanked or they're being hit by multiple enemy units, the battles do take quite a while. These recruits have been shooting at each other for quite a bit. It's pretty much always about morale. You very rarely actually wipe out units. They essentially always rout before they are totally wiped out. You see, they've also constructed some defenses in front of themselves, which is this item here that you can give them, the Earthworks. It's going to give them base cover 20. That's actually really nice. Plus charge defense. So frontal charges are going to be much harder here. That's actually really nice. I want some of those as well. We're going to make this line a little wider. There's different formations down here that you can pick through that are going to impact how your unit acts. But I think you can enter them without even using the formations down there, right? You can go like this, and this is like a marching formation. Okay, there we go. Victory. And now we're going to get the spoils of war, hopefully. We get some gold, some coins, some moolah, and various battle loot as well. Some of which is only meant to be sold, like these captured regimental flags. Some of which is great for example, artillery. This right here is also to be sold. Some horses, we can give that to our cavalry. And then we have the option to decide between 3 different things here. We can ransom, conscript, or exchange. This is again very similar to Total War, but the effects are obviously completely different. So ransom is going to give us money and ammunition. Conscript is going to give us reserves and restore some of our own casualties. And exchange is going to give us veterancy plus provisions. So what I'm thinking here is actually that we should probably go for... I think we're going to get ransom. Like so. And now we have to replenish our units. So the way that you do that is you can either replenish each brigade individually. So you say, I want to send my reservists right here. Or you can replenish the entire army up here. So we are actually out of reservists, so some of these units aren't going to get any replenishment. The cavalry is going to be replenished, as you can see, by this light, well, by the dark green bar right here. So we're going to need more reservists. We're also going to replenish the ammo. Now let's get back here. So the reason why I didn't want to get the conscripts was because there's a settlement here, and we can make use of our... I think it's called the Doctrine, right? But in any case, we just got 350 reservists, so if we go back to the camp now, as you can see, we can just do that. Now, here we're gonna go to the town square and sell some of this stuff that we got. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna keep that stuff. And we'll want to use the horses on our cavalry, of course. There's different things we can buy here. Tea rations, spirit rations, cross pendants. These are pretty cheap items that you can get to improve your army. We'll do that. And we now have 1,000 wealth left. Now, each of these settlements, whenever you do visit them, also has different penalties or bonuses up here. So this settlement is going to have debased currency, item sale cost, negative 20%. I don't know why this is red. This sounds like a good thing. Item sale cost reduced by 20%. So it's like 20% off. I'm not sure why this is red and not like green. I'm not sure, but each settlement that you visit has a different bonus. So we'll not buy anything else here and just leave. And I think the next place we're going to head is this convoy over here, which is part of our side objectives. Secure 5 convoys. We'll go for that. A heavily guarded supply train is en route through the valley below. These carts appear unstable, overburdened with powder and equipment. A direct assault could yield valuable stores, but one stray shot may see the entire train lost in a fiery blast. You may attempt to capture it intact or fire into the wagons and destroy the cargo outright. thereby delaying the enemy headquarters. So the enemy headquarters, is what you have to understand, is basically a big army that we have to defeat. I haven't actually fought against them earlier, but they are going to ready over time using this bar right here. And I think when this bar reaches the end, you actually lose. So you have to defeat the enemy headquarters beforehand. So that's what they're saying by delaying the enemy headquarters. So what we're going to do is use some of our face a weak enemy field army. Capture 4 items. I think we're going to go for the extra items and field an enemy army. Okay, that's going to be useful. Before we fight these guys, we can actually go into our camp and equip some of the stuff that we have. So we're going to give these guys the horses. Accuracy reload. That's not going to be very useful for the cavalry. I think we'll give the canteens to one of our infantry units. Also give these guys the cylindrical ramrods. Some of these items are also mutually exclusive. Not necessarily to the same item, but to similar items. So for example, we can only get one type of ramrod in these slots. We'll give these guys the T. Oh no, that doesn't work. See, that's exactly what I mean, right? So this is a ration. This is also considered a ration. So you can't give that to the same unit. Actually, hold on. That's not useful. That's the cavalry. There we go. This right here is going to give us max range plus 10. We'll give that to... Oh, this is artillery, see? This right here is gun picks. We'll give that to these guys. And this right here is also artillery. So we have 2 items for artillery, which I think we might just hold on to. Okay. Well, let's fight these guys. We are not fully replenished yet. And mostly losses on our cavalry. But we're going to tackle this anyways. This is going to be pretty tricky, I think. They have musketeers, recruits. So they outnumber us, especially on the cavalry. And our own cavalry is pretty beaten up. Should we actually retreat? No, let's go fight this. We really need to get another brigade underway. Okay, so looking at the terrain ahead of us, we have a bit of a hill on this side. And we have a forest over here. A forest will also provide cover, so you can station your units inside of that. What we're going to do, I think, is take this hill and then fight off of that with our infantry. Our infantry should have higher range than their recruits. So we're going to push up there. I think we'll just put these units like this and I'll move them on the hill in position. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick. Unfortunately, the deployment area is a little bit small, which I've noticed. We'll put these units off the hill just because we don't have much of a choice. We'll just have our best unit, just like before, on the hill for increased range. So our cavalry is in a bit of danger. I think we'll keep them back because the enemy cavalry is outnumbering us, and if we get engaged by 2 cavalry units, we'll be toast. We'll keep them back. I think we'll have to assist them with our recruits. So we see the enemy moving in. Up front, they have some Pandur musketeers backed by frontier recruits. And then they're keeping their cavalry behind their army. Select all of these. Sometimes units don't get selected, even though I think they should. Like right here. I don't know why this unit is not being selected. The recruits in the back. You see what I mean? So that's slightly weird. Still getting used to that. Maybe that's intentional, but maybe that's just an issue with the game. Alright, so here, for example, I can't turn the camera any further. That's one thing that I don't really like so far. I wish I could just freely turn my camera, like in any direction that I want. Okay, I think we're gonna make our line here a little bit wider. Wider. So wider lines will increase your firepower, but also make you a little bit less maneuverable. There's our first volley from the musketeers with the great range on the hill. taking advantage of that elevation, 75% elevation. It's a little bit hard to tell how much elevation you're really going to get. I think it mostly depends on how much of your unit is on elevation, rather than how high the elevation itself is. I'm gonna fall back a little bit here on that side. Keeping our cavalry back still. The longer the enemy cavalry stays out of the battle, the better for us. But I think they're gonna go for a push here soon, and we'll very likely have to retreat our recruits. You can see if you hover over units, you also get an idea of how much ammunition they have left. And the volley here seems to consume about 6% of our ammo, from the looks of it. Which you can modify using different items as well. And once these units are out of ammo, they can obviously go into melee as well and use their bayonets. There's units that are going to be better as line infantry, like these guys. The musketeers are really good line infantry. But also units that are better in melee, like grenadiers. Okay, so the musketeers, the enemy strongest unit, I would say, is definitely losing. They're taking a lot of fire from 2 of our units. But the enemy cavalry is moving in position. I do want to sit back as long as possible. I'm going to use my general if needed. Fight these guys back. I'm hoping to rout this unit as soon as possible. And then use my 2 infantry units on these recruits here, which will also rout fairly soon. And then we can use our infantry to defend against the enemy cavalry on this side. Until then, our recruits over here are just gonna hold their line. It does look like they are beating these frontier recruits as well. And make our line a little bit wider, more firepower, more units up front. I think these guys are wavering. So the unit icon here is blinking. I think below 15 morale, they're going to run. There's definitely increments here that are hidden, right? You can see it going from 15 morale wavering to 15 morale steady. There's like hidden increments. Okay, these guys are retreating. We're just going to focus on the recruits next. I think we're going to go for a flank here. It's a little bit cheeky. We might have to look out for these guys turning around and shooting into our side, which is going to deal a lot of damage. Fix our line here a little bit. The enemy cavalry is still holding back, which I think is a mistake on their part. Oh, I think they might be going for a charge here. We're going to align our recruits here. Can we reload in time? Get 1 volley off? Nah, they're going to be too slow. We'll get our cavalry in there though. Get into melee. Get as much charge bonus as we can. Over here, can we get a volley? No? Okay, charge that. So the enemy cavalry decided to charge us frontally, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world. I don't think we should use our general here, but... Oh, see, this is what I was talking about. I just made a bad decision to charge my general into the enemy frontier recruits back here. Now, granted, they're not going to volley us down because they're reloading, but I can't get him out of this charge anymore. He's locked into this. So I think I want to help my infantry here. Our general... Oh no, that was a bad idea. Second battle, I'm already sacrificing my general. The enemy cavalry here was routed. Russian infantry is running away. We're going to use our own cavalry here. Continue in melee. Okay, we're going to hunt these guys down. But I want to turn our infantry... I want to turn these guys around. So when the charge bonus ends, you see we can move these units again. Get these guys out of melee mode. What I appreciate is that the hotkeys for that stuff are pretty much the same as Total War as well. So it didn't take me long to get used to. So it's, for example, it's R to run or F to enter melee mode. These are the exact same hotkeys that I've been using in Total War. Okay, we're aligning here. Getting ready for a volley into their side. And these guys are retreating too. Our cavalry is just mopping up what's left. These frontier recruits have routed our own recruits. Our morale is also not great, but it's better than the recruits. I think one advantage of the volley fire is going to be the morale impact. As when all the units shoot at the same time, it seems to have a great impact on unit morale. Okay, our cavalry has routed, but it's fine. We emerged victorious, but at what cost? Now, it seems dire, but realistically, we haven't lost that many units. That's not going to be the end of the world. It's not like we have to replace any of the regiments in their entirety. And there we go. Another victory for Friedrich. We're going to go for the conscription here. Just going to restore some of the casualties we've suffered. And it's also going to give us a few reservists, which we'll need to replenish after this battle. You can see we've leveled up a bit more. When units have leveled up sufficiently, you're going to be able to turn them into other units. So for example, these Cantonist recruits, I can go in here. And once we have 4 points, we only have 2 right now, we can turn these guys into musketeers. We do also have the option to go for something like the Prussian Landmiliz, which then turns into the Fusiliers, which are sort of a budget grenadier unit. And the reason why you might want to do that is because it's a boost early on, right? Because this only takes 2, I suppose you want to call it veterancy. And then the Fusilier upgrade also only takes 2 veterancy. But then switching them over to the Grenadiers is going to take 6. So that's a total of 10. Whereas going to Musketeers and then Grenadiers will also take a total of 10, right? So it takes the same amount of total veterancy to get there. But the Landmiliz is obviously going to give you a bonus rather than the recruits a little bit quicker. So that's an option that you have. There's also the Frei Infantry right here, which is going to be smaller unit size, better range, and so on. So for now, I think we're going to turn one of these into Landmiliz, and the other one will probably turn into regular musketeers. So we'll have to wait for that. Now, we have different upgrades here, different items. All of this is artillery. We have so much artillery stuff. Casualties restored plus 20%. I'm not sure I want to give that to anyone. Cover base. Oh, earthworks. That's great. I do want one of those. I think we're going to spend a bit of gold here, some thalers, to get more inventory slots, which you have to do for each of these regiments individually. And we'll give these earthworks to our musketeers. We have an iron 3-pound gun. Not super useful. You get those pretty much when you recruit an artillery regiment. We have some riding boots. I suppose that goes on our riders. And then casualties restored. Let's put that on our Landmiliz. I suppose you want that on a unit that's going to take a lot of casualties. I don't think Landmiliz is a terrible option for that, especially for the Fusiliers, as those are more like melee units. They have good charge bonus, so they're probably going to take some casualties doing what they do. So we've already visited this settlement. I think we want to go for another settlement right now, as we need more reservists. So not only do we obviously get 350 reservists when we visit the settlement, but also you can see fresh recruits are less expensive here, and so are supplies. So we're going to go for Greifenberg here. The army is going to try and follow the roads, it seems. We'll enter this place too, 350 reservists. You see how nice this is as Prussia? That's actually really cool. And provisions are cheaper here, so we're going to go for like 1 tick of these. We don't need a crazy amount. And there's a slum here. Slums, encampment. That seems to be an enemy army. That's like a patrol. I think we should try and avoid that. There's another army here. Let's turn around and try and get away from these guys. I don't really want to fight them. Let's go to these slums here real quick. Your Grace, as we passed through the outskirts of the shanty, one of our men noticed 2 young lads playing fife and drum with remarkable precision. Their coats hung off them like sacks, clearly orphans dressed in the remnants of fallen kin. The boys say their parents were taken by the war. They ask for nothing, but if we take them in, they may serve as field musicians and be spared a life of begging. Excellent foreign musicians. I'm not sure what the exact benefit of this is, like of each of these options. I think field musician is an item. Excellent bagpipers, excellent foreign musicians. See, I wish I could see what the difference between these different units is. We're gonna go for the musicians right now because I know these guys. Morale and movement speed is always good. But the other two, I have no clue. We don't really have a slot for... Oh, well, we do. And the cantonist. Oh, these guys already have a musician. Then we'll swap this. Oh, no, we can't. Tea rations. This is also a ration. Let's get this. There we go. Okay. Let's use our extra recruits as well. Fully replenished. Once you apply the reservists, it takes a little while for you to actually replenish your units. These guys are trying to engage us, but I'm not sure I want to fight that. So we're going to continue running away here. I want to make it to the big settlement. And here, as you can see, there are more options available to us. So, for example, the noble estate. And we're going to go here and recruit one of these officers. Franz von Knobloch. Calculating. Firm. I think we're going to go for that. 242 thalers. Recruit him. We'll go into our camp. New brigade. Put him in charge of that. I think an artillery unit wouldn't be bad. We don't have a lot of money though. I think we'll go for that. But that's going to make us go almost broke. We'll go back to our camp. And then from here we can go... Oh, they've already applied it. So you can see the artillery unit is now in here. Okay, back on the campaign map. We're going to continue avoiding these armies here. And I'm just going to go straight for the convoy. Continue getting these objectives. Pretty sure this is the same event we had earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Supply train. We're going to go and delay the enemy HQ. Buy us a bit more time. And there's another patrol. I think I'm gonna try and avoid that too. We have a lot of movement speed, and I think part of that is the difficulty mode. Hidden contraband. The choice is yours. Thorough search or passive search. So depending on like whether we go for a passive search or a thorough search, I'm not really sure what the downside here is. Oh, okay. So unlikely chance to provoke the convoy, but also unlikely chance to find contraband. If none is found, the convoy is provoked. I'm not sure what that's going to do if we provoke the convoy. If there's going to be a battle. Let's do a passive search. Contraband found. And we seize 3 weapons. Some land pattern muskets. Light socket bayonets and some dragoon swords. That's fantastic. Dragoon swords especially is going to be great for our cavalry, no? Prussian provincial cavalry. Right now we have worn sabers. We'll replace that with the dragoon swords. And then we have the land pattern muskets too, which have really high accuracy and give a bonus to melee at the cost of some range and charge. So I think that's probably going to be decent on our recruits. Alright, and then we also have the light socket bayonets, which increase charge bonus massively. So we're gonna go and give that to the Landmiliz. As Landmiliz, as I've said, is going to turn into the Fusiliers, and Fusiliers, as you can see, benefit from charge bonus, or they have high charge bonus. And then Grenadiers, obviously, even better. Okay, so what should be our next objective here? I think we should go for... I really want to go to the settlement too. Because we haven't been here. We should probably do that. I wish you could see movement speed of armies somehow. You know how in Martin Blade Bannerlord, for example, you can exactly see how quickly an army is moving? just to see if they are going to catch up to you. Okay, so we have basically no money. We're just here for the reservists, which we already have. There's a swamp here. That's going to affect the terrain too. And there's actually a fort over there as well that we can attack. But I don't know if that's such a good idea. I think we're taking attrition here. Along the path, we're fine. But I think if we walk through the swamp, we take attrition. All right, there's an outpost. Let's go for that. Low on ammunition. We don't really have that much ammunition. Let's give them 100 ammunition. It's not that much. Enemy raid repulsed. And we get 3 more weapons. Full arm muskets. Let's see. These guys still have their 1 musket, so I think we're gonna give them these weapons right here. ++ melee reload. I think that's a good idea. And then we still have more light socket bayonets. We'll replace these. Although this is not the ideal one for a unit like this. It's better than nothing. Better than the rusty ones that they had before. Okay. There's another encampment down there. We're going to need that for our missions. Let's head for that. We're still being chased by this patrol, but I'm just going to avoid that. We're not going to fight these guys right now. River crossing. Our scouts report an enemy force encamped across the river. Today marks a festival of some kind, and the men appear to be in high spirits, drunk, unguarded, and wholly unfit for battle. We may attempt to cross now and take them unawares. Improvised rafts or dinghies can be fashioned. Though the risk is not small, we may be spotted midstream or worse, lose men to the current. Should we invest in some sturdier craft, our chances improve. If an engineer is with us, he may ensure the boats hold together, but even then our movements may yet be detected. I think we're going to just build some rafts. Just tie some logs together, you know, some shoestring. Enemies capture. Let's go. Boats were launched at first and the call. Okay. Nice. So we get a crazy amount of reservists. That's 1,500 reservists and 2 weapon items. Hey, man, we're getting so many weapons. But I think us going around right now and gathering some resources is not the worst idea. Forlorn Hope, the volunteers at this post report that they stand ready to sell their lives dearly should it serve the greater cause. We don't really need more reservists, to be honest with you. Training big areas. 2 days. Oh, so basically we spend some ammo, 2 days pass, and we gain another 2 weeks. I think that's worth it. Although we are sort of low on ammunition, we also don't have a lot of money. Although we can go to the settlement, trade some of the items that we have, and then buy some ammunition. Oh, hello. Let's go for that. These guys have more HP. But this seems pretty winnable. Numbers are similar. They also have an artillery piece, 1 unit of cavalry. So on this map, we have a nice hill right here that we can use to our advantage. I think what we're going to do is put the artillery right there and then immediately deploy that. And then we're going to put our musketeers in front of that. We'll walk them up there in a moment. Keep some reserves back. So. Then our Landmiliz. I think we're going to put them on the right side. We have some trees here, so maybe there'll be some flanking maneuver. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to expand them fully once the battle starts. And we'll put our recruits over on this side. Off the hill. Like so. Maybe use them for a flanking maneuver. I think our Prussian provincial cavalry will put over in this field. There's a lot of open space on this side. And then keep our general back here. Okay, walk forward. Gonna take the hill. So we'll have a big range advantage. I keep pressing spacebar, by the way, which is going to pause the game. Because the button to show the positions these units are walking to in Total War is spacebar. So it's just muscle memory, I'm sorry. Okay, so our artillery is almost in range here already. I'm going to fire at these... What are these? Observation recruits. And the enemy artillery is readying as well. It looks like... Oh, they're shooting at our cavalry. I'll get these guys out of range. I don't want that. I'm not sure what the better target is. Reservist? Sorry, observation recruits or the surf recruits? Yeah, we'll just keep firing artillery for now. Ouchie. Yeah, we're taking fire ourselves though. Not sure if we're causing much damage here. Is their artillery better than ours? I'm not sure. Are these... Can you tell what kind of gun that is? Oh, that's a 6-pound gun, so that's double the pounds. I'm not sure if that means double the damage, but maybe we actually have to leave our hill. If the artillery is very much superior to ours, we could use our cavalry to go for a flanking maneuver and try and hit them at the back, but they're keeping their provincial cavalry back. Yeah, and our recruits they're suffering. I think we're gonna go march forward here. As much as I would love to fight around this hill, I'm not sure that's going to happen here. Yeah, the fact that there's water right here is unfortunate for us. We can obviously walk around that, like so. It's gonna take a little bit longer, which means more artillery fire. No, we'll position this unit on the other side of that. Ouch. It's good our reservists, sorry, our recruits are taking the fire, not our musketeers. Now, recruits here might struggle a little bit. Keeping our cavalry back right now. We obviously want to protect our artillery piece as well, as the enemy could do the same thing as I'm planning, move around with their cavalry. So I could keep these guys back for now. Over here we should probably move next to these musketeers. I'm not sure if we can fire over the side here. 33 morale versus 52 morale, doing pretty good. We can move our general up as well. It looks like on their side these units are not firing, right? Because they have friendlies in front of themselves. And these surf recruits are already almost routing. Prussian musketeers are going to fire once more. I think that might be the end of these guys. 14 morale. I think we're going to move up our cavalry here along the left side and see if we can't get into that artillery piece. You see the enemy cavalry is slowly shifting over. I'm going to move back on this side. Want to protect our flank with the Landmiliz, and we're being charged. We're going to counter-charge that. I'm going to send my general forward for moral support. And our own cavalry is going to go for that artillery piece. Meanwhile, artillery is going to continue firing at these recruits. Our Landmiliz, in theory, shouldn't do badly in melee, especially because they got the charge bonus and they have their new light socket bayonets. And they have routed the enemy. We're gonna switch them back into regular mode and start skirmishing with the enemy once more. Oh, our cavalry got stuck on the musketeers. I think we're gonna charge this. March these guys forward. I'm gonna disengage. And I'll send these guys for the artillery piece. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, the cavalry is still running. Observation recruits are gonna take a volley from these musketeers into their side now. And if you hit units in the flank, it's definitely dealing more damage than otherwise. Here's some melee action going on. Both of these units are tired, but their morale is in the gutter. Artillery pieces, if you hit them with cavalry, they just rout really quickly and shatter really quickly as well. Alright, there we go. Another victory for good old Prussia. That wasn't too hard. I think our units are just better. They're just good. 4 full gators, half gators, canteens. Not bad. Some stuff that we can sell. Bit of plunder. We have a lot of reservists, so I'm not gonna go for conscript. I think I'm gonna go for ransom. I need some money. Alright, some rank ups going on here. Not sure there's anything useful yet. Our general ranked up though, our officer I should say. So here we have the opportunity to choose a trait. You have the option to pick between 3 of them. And because they are random, sometimes offices might go into directions that you didn't initially plan, right? Because you have to pick one of these. The more traits you get on an officer, the more clear it becomes, you know, what kind of officer the guy is going to be. So this guy, I think what we definitely need is somebody for the line infantry. So something with, you know, any like morale, reload speed, and stuff like that. Veterancy gain plus 15, morale minus 5. I don't know about that. Morale damage received, movement speed minus 5. Steadfast. That seems like a good trait to have for a general that commands a lot of line infantry. Grenade throw range. What grenades? I haven't even seen grenades yet. Burly. The icon as well. No, we're gonna go for steadfast for now. I think that's the most useful one. And then we'll replenish everyone. That's a lot of reservists gone. But not that much ammo, to be honest. Let's go to the settlement. We do need some ammo and we do need to sell some stuff. So we'll go to the quartermaster. Let's get rid of this stuff here first. Large limber. We can get rid of these trash weapons that we don't need. But I want to keep these muskets just in case. We also have a lot of limber chests, which are going to be useful if we have artillery, but we don't need to carry all of these around with us. Elevation screws. Keep the canteens. Also, I'll say actually keep these. Keep the muskets and get rid of this. So that's extra 316 thalers for us. Confirm. Very nice. We have some entrenching tools here too for extra cover bonus. So I wonder if the extra cover bonus also scales with the entrenchments that we can place ourselves, like the spikes and so on. And then we'll visit the barracks and see what we can get our hands on. There's Prussian hussars here, but these are way too expensive for us. We could really use some more infantry. So I think we'll just go for some recruits. These have pretty basic weapons, but we have a lot of items that we can equip them with pretty much straight away. Plus melee. Range. No, neither of these is really fantastic for this type of unit, but we'll just go with that for now. We'll give these guys... Oh no, this doesn't work for them, does it? Yeah, never mind. I take that back. We actually don't have any items left. But that's fine. We'll get new items soon. And then these guys will be the first ones to get that. Lots of elevation screws. We need more artillery. Oh wait, we actually have a slot left here. Cool. We'll go for the limber chest. We'll remove the half gators and to give them the elevation screws, right? Max range. Okay. Our military grows stronger by the minute. But I think this is a good point to stop the first episode. I'm really enjoying this game so far, right? Just as far as my first impressions go, this game is really addicting. You win the battles, you get some items, you continue leveling up your generals. It feels very rewarding. And being able to customize your unit that much, make sure that they fight in exactly the way that you want to, the amount of factions available. So far, it's really fun for what it is. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave it a like down below so other people can find it too. And subscribe if you are interested in watching more of these episodes. I'm also going to have a playlist on screen where as soon as more episodes of this are going to be released, you'll be finding those there instead of having to go look on the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.